Well, I just got out of the water riding the 1095. This is the 1095 high aspect wing from Takuma. It's in the Kujira family. The 1095's wingspan is 37 3/4 inches long. The 1210 at almost exactly 37 inches. So it's barely longer than the 1210. But the cord length is where where it gets totally different. This has a 6-inch cord length, where the 1210 is a little over 6.5. So the aspect ratio there is quite a bit higher. What that means is the 1210 is going to be a little bit better for low-end pumping. When you slow down or you get super tired, you can kind of recover out of a stall position with the 1210. The 1095 was great, and I was able to pump it almost exactly as far as the 1210 in flat water, because I rode this yesterday. But the 1095, the speed is much better. I noticed a couple sections today where I was pumping out, and I ended up pushing through the front of the wing. Possibly it's because I am an average foiler at best, and when I was pumping this wing, I haven't dialed in my Takuma pump as much. I've been on some other wings recently, so that's a big deal there. The next thing is the 750 or the 980 are much smaller, right? So here's your 750, and I'll line up a 980 later, where the 1210 and the 1095 are at that 37 and change, a little under 38. The 750 is only 26.5 inches wide. And it's got a tiny little cord, 5.5 inches. So you lose about 10 inches in width, and you only lose, an inch or so in the cord. This is going to be a great tow wing. In terms of what I felt on the 1095, it was pretty revolutionary for a high aspect wing. Even with the wingspan that it has, I was able to turn it substantially better than other wings of its size. Comparing it to the Lift 170, which it's also a high aspect wing. I would say a similar wingspan minus the winglets. Let's say it's a 1/4 inch shy on either side. I'll measure it for you, but you can find the specs online. This is at 37 1/4. Not much different in wingspan, but this 170 can start to feel locked in on your turns. While it pumps well, the 170 and the 1210 pump very similarly, the 1095 turns way better. With the 1095, I found myself looking for ways to improve my foiling while I was on it for the first time. After just a few waves, I was asking myself, okay, how hard can I attack this section? How tight can I turn? Can I start to snap the foil at the top of the wave? And I was not asking myself those same questions with the 1210. The 1210, I was safety foiling it a little bit more. It had a lot of glide. It was a very trustworthy foil and intuitive. The 1095 has all those same characteristics. It rises up when you're dropping into a wave. You get into the trough, and it's coming up under your feet as you're kind of popping up. It's very intuitive. It's very steady. It made sense to my body. I didn't have any blown takeoffs because I wasn't used to the wing yet, and I had it in multiple different mast positions. I started out with it a little too far forward, ended up moving it back once or twice, and found a spot where I really liked it, but it was never an issue for stability. I was always able to surf it. I just had a little too much front foot pressure in the beginning. So I would say the 1095 becomes kind of a one-wing quiver. It's got great pump ability, like a 170 or a 1210. It's got the speed that you would want out of a smaller foil, like a 120, a Lift 120, or I like to ride the Ono foil 150, and those foils are very fast. The 1095 is also very fast. I was trying to work on, as I was pumping down the river toward the parking lot a couple times, I was trying to work on catching the wave in front of me and kind of like bulldogging over the next wave, which is kind of a no-no. but I wanted to see how it could do it. And it could overtake the wave in front of me and then drop in. It had enough speed for that. So that was pretty impressive. Also, when I was connecting waves, 2-for-1s, in those connections, I was able to go straight at the wave and just crank it like 180 degrees at the very end. Again, I typically don't snap my turns really hard, but a really tight arc I was able to do, and tighter than most other foils that I've ridden, except for when you get into the surf foil range. So if you're the type of guy that likes to ride the Lift 150 V2 or an Axis 810 or maybe an Axis PNG 850, this foil will surf just as well. It also was stable in the limited amounts of whitewash that I was in. Whether it was whitewash on a takeoff or whitewash in turns, this thing did not blow me out of the water. It actually handles whitewash quite well. And in talking with people at Takuma directly, the wingtips are valuable in those turns for predictability, stability, and user friendliness. I rode it with the paired 178 tail. This is the tail that comes in the wing set with the 1095. The bag has been improved. It's a much thicker padding on the bag. And inside is really nice. I'll give you a look. Inside the bag, you have just the nice foam here, a couple instructions for how to assemble your foil, and then the little space where you can put your 1095 wing. If you're a guy that has ordered just a front wing and you don't have a 178 tail, or if you need an extra 178 tail, Takuma also shipped out a separate just 178 tail for me. It comes in this nifty little bag that I think my wife would love for something. It has a little tail in there, little rubber handle. If you want to tote just your tail around, you can do that. Just the reason I share that is so that everybody knows we can get you just a tail. We can get you just a front wing. We can get you the wing set. We can get you a full kit. Takuma ships out full kits with the aluminum mast. They have not put a new carbon mast into production yet that I know of. It's definitely not in the United States. And so if you want to ride a carbon mast and you don't want any base plate shims under your foil, you just want that nice, straight, true angle that the aluminum mast gives you, I ride the Project Cedrus carbon mast. This is a really good mast. It pairs really well with the Takuma foils. The adapter that we use at the top, or the piece that mounts into the fuselage, is very true, has a great angle, and I didn't feel the need to do any base plate shimming or anything like that. I was able to crank turns. The elevation and pitch of the board was always very stable and level. I really like this mast and I recommend it. All in all, I felt like the Takuma 1095 was a wing that I would choose for myself if I could only have one wing. It gives you the benefits of high aspect, the speed, the pumping, and the glide. And it gives you the benefits of a surf wing that would have a much smaller wingspan. Tight turns, great yaw turns and pivot. Now for the cons. The only thing that I noticed about this wing is that because the wingspan is so long, it does take a little more effort to roll it over, side to side, the roll motion. You have to do a little bit more of a pre-turn or a counter steer if you're a motorcycle rider, where when you go into a turn, if you want to turn on your toe side, you almost have to turn the foil the opposite direction first and get it to lean over, and then you can really carve into that turn hard. That was an adjustment for me. That was something that I needed to work through, but it never made me fail on a wave. It was maybe my turn wasn't as clean as it could have been or as tight as it could have been until I started developing that technique. But it is something that after the first 3 or 4 waves, I was totally comfortable with. This is a great wing. I would dare say it's even good for a new rider, a beginning rider. And I think extremely advanced riders will enjoy how tight it turns and how you can snap it. Even with the longer Takuma fuselage, even with the stock Takuma 178 tail, it turned really well. Lastly, as I compared it to the Takuma 1210, I should bring up, I was riding the Takuma 1210 yesterday with a different tail. And when I talk about low-end pumping, I believe the winglets, it's the same wingspan, but I believe the winglets on this Onofoil 13-inch tail give it a little bit of low-end pump to recover. So I'm going to, another time, test out this wing with this tail. Takuma uses a great mounting, a pretty universal mounting screw plate, and the mount here by the tail is very flat. So you can put your KD Maui tails on the Takuma fuse. You can put other manufacturers' tails that bolt up here. A lot of them do. And you can experiment with different tails that you like. The 178 tail was great. I'm going to test it again with this, and we'll add that in the comments. If you want to buy the 1095, we have it for sale at the foil shop. It's in stock now. I'll post the links, and it'll be shipped out to you. You can come pick it up in the shop. I will also have one here for demo. If you want to try it before you buy it, that's the thing at the foil shop. Come on in, jump on the 1095, get a session under your feet, and see how you like it. Thanks for watching.